Hey everybody, I'm Sean. Welcome to another episode of Angling Spiders.
Nice fish, bud. Good job.
Look at that! Chunky.
We got a northern pike minnow.
A northern pike minnow. That is something we don't get at home.
Nope.
Awesome, man.
Welcome back everybody. On today's episode we are fishing at Eagle Lake near Strathmore. We only had time for another quick trip. So once again back at a familiar location. This time Kieran was hoping to catch a walleye because the last time we were there he didn't get any. Unfortunately, he didn't catch any fish this time, which happens to all of us from time to time, and is one of the reasons why I'm hosting solo today, because everything that you get today will be from my perspective. Speaking of that, in this episode we're going to do something a little bit different, and that is I'm going to be talking a little bit about tips and techniques in between some of the catches, and so it'll come back to this view in between a few of the videos where I describe some of the techniques that we were using, or even just a few pointers. So we'll see how that goes. And then lastly today, towards the end of the video, I'm going to be talking about this, and so hopefully you'll stick around until the end. All right. So before we get to today's video, I just want to take a moment to thank all of our new subscribers. In the last month we've had 43 new subscribers, which is crazy. Welcome to all of you, and some of you have already started making comments and suggestions, and we greatly appreciate it. I also want to take a minute just to thank some of our longtime subs. These are people who have been watching us for quite some time, regularly leave comments and feedback, and we've even incorporated a lot of that into some of our videos. A couple that come directly to mind: Queenstown Kid, Turtle Cubing, the Duncan Dan Klimek, Rocco Ledenko, and Kevin Thays. So thanks to you guys. I know there's more of you out there. We'll try to thank some more people in a future episode. Now let's get on the water.
Beautiful late May day. Kieran and I out for a paddle on Eagle. Water is really muddy, making it tough to catch anything, but it's great to get outside. And as crazy as we are, we decided to go across the lake, which is quite a ways. So we're just working our way over, because there's a lot of people on the other side. It's a long ways.
Yep.
So here's our first tip from Eagle Lake. Kieran and I both started out the day using plastic swim baits. Like usual, Kieran was using his Mako perch swim bait, and he had a couple of bites and even almost landed one, but as I said before, unfortunately he didn't catch any. I took a different tactic, and I decided to use a brand new lure that I haven't used before, and that was a gift that was given to me by my kids for Christmas. Also, as I said, a plastic swim bait, but in this case the shape of a northern pike. I knew that it would work for pike because they're voracious predators and they will eat their own kind. Wasn't sure how it would do with other species, but thought I'd give it a try. The method I started with was just casting from the kayak. Basically letting it sink to the bottom. We wanted to be relatively close to the bottom, and just a really slow retrieve. This thing's got a pretty good swim action, so it's already got a lot of action on the bait, but we did jerk it every once in a while just to give it some variety, but for the most part it was just a slow retrieve. Had some success for that, as you'll see, and then later on switched it up to actually trying to troll. Trolling in a kayak is a little bit more difficult, because particularly in shallow water, because you got to get your kayak moving a little bit before you cast out your line so that it doesn't sink right to the bottom and snag in the weeds. Took me a couple tries to get it figured out, but once I did, I was able to basically troll it behind the kayak using a pretty steady slow speed, and also had some success with that. So here you go.
Finally got one. All right, guys. First walleye of the year out of Eagle Lake. Not bad, actually. Pretty good size. We'll measure him up here. He is 44 centimeters. Not bad. Decent sized fish. It is muddy here. It has been tough all day. We've lost two. Just happened to snag this guy right now. Let's get him back in the water. All right. Oh, I lost him. Just picked one up trolling. Pike. Not a bad fish. Not bad. Not a bad fish. Let's measure him up. Oh, not bad, man. 69 centimeters. Whew. There he goes. Just picked up another one trolling. Feels like a pike. Yeah. That guy is 62 centimeters. There you go. Another pike.
So you'll notice on that last fish that it was bleeding pretty heavy. That does happen from time to time when you're fishing. It's unfortunate. In this case, just so everybody knows, I did hold on to the fish for longer than I normally would, and I actually opened up its mouth to inspect its gills just to make sure that it wasn't heavily damaged. It was bleeding from the gills, but the gills weren't damaged in any way that I could see. So I basically kept it near the boat and to see if the bleeding would stop. The bleeding eventually did stop, and I also checked to see that it was still, you know, vigorously moving in the water, which it was. You know, there's no guarantees that it wasn't still injured enough that it'll succumb to its injuries, but you know, it's a good reminder when you're catch and release fishing to try to use barbless hooks as much as possible. Some people even say you should use single hooks. Even if you do all those precautions, every once in a while you're going to injure a fish, so it's always good to just try to make sure that they're okay. And hopefully you'll see in this next shot, I tried to do an underwater release after I let it sit in the water for a while, just to show you how lively it was, and it was definitely lively. The other thing about this shot is it just shows you how muddy the water actually was out there at Eagle Lake this weekend. So here you go. So final tip here. I did end up switching over to my pen rod, and that's because we had some success at Eagle Lake last year with the pen rod. If you haven't seen that episode, go check it out. Caught a pretty big pike last year on that rod. So I thought, what the heck, I'd give it a try again. Last year when we used the pen rod, we were using walleye rigs. They worked great, but they can cause a bit of an issue when you're trying to land your fish, in that the fish can get tangled up in them, particularly the pike. So this year, instead of the walleye rigs, we decided to use a pike rig. The difference between a pike rig and a walleye rig, first and foremost, the hooks are a little bit bigger for a pike rig. Secondly, instead of a monofilament line, it's got this steel line which keeps the hooks out straight and also prevents the fish from getting tangled up in the monofilament. So works a lot better for that. Basically, we added some shiners for bait, dropped this thing right down to the bottom, lift it up just off the bottom and jig it a little bit right from the side of the kayak, and also had some success. So here you go.
I had a bite. Guys, switched over to the pen rod because of course we're at Eagle Lake, and just picked up another one. Not sure what it is yet. It is a walleye. A little bit smaller than the last one, but nice fish. Let's measure them up. This one is 42 centimeters. Whoa! Whoa! Gone.
So that's it for the fishing. Not a bad day. Caught 4 fish, lost that many as well, and Kieran lost a couple. So all in all, not too bad considering we weren't out there very long. The last thing that I want to talk about today is a fishing logbook. Back in episode 24, I mentioned that one of the things that we use to keep our memories is a fishing logbook. And I realized that not everybody has one of these, and maybe there's a way that we can make it a little bit more helpful, at least for those people who are fishing in the same locations that we are, or if you just want a template. So one of the things that we've done is we have created our own fishing logbook template. This one specifically is for Dalmead Lake and is the one that we filled out for our last episode. So what we've done is we've put information on here related to where you were fishing, the temperature, the wind speed, a place for notes, and then on this side, a place to record the size of the fish that you caught and what you were using, and then over here, location for the diagram of the lake that you're fishing in. In this case, for Dalmead, I have used a PDF editor to fill out where we were fishing and also marked the location of the catch. So yes, I am actually sharing with you right now where we caught our fish in the last episode. We will be putting a blank of this PDF in the show notes below. Feel free to download it and use it if you are interested. We would love to hear your feedback as well if you think this is interesting or useful. And so hopefully you'll find that is something that can be used. We will also be creating one of these for every lake that we fish at for our own use, and we're more than happy to link those up as well later. And so that's some great news. One of the other things that we might be doing is taking all of the episodes that we've done and amalgamating them into an overall map for hints and tips. That would be something that we would create later and make potentially available to our subscribers. So we'll see how that goes depending on our PDF editing skills. So with that, I hope you liked the video, and if you did, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and until next time, good fishing.